This episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the CastSource Podcast Network, a podcast network built with and for entrepreneurs. We cover many genres, including sports, business, mental health, marketing, and entertainment. Feature the podcast shows such as Sports Bring People Together, Limitless, Saviors of the Metaverse, The Athletic Mindset, and the Buffalonian Podcast. Learn more at castsource.com/podcast. And without further ado, let's get into the Buffalonian Podcast. The Buffalo Bills fall to the Minnesota Vikings. And the Sabres have lost 3 straight since we last talked about them on the pod. And of course, we'll be talking hot takes, trivia, and more. This is the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and as always, I'm joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino. And fellas, what a week it's been for both the Bills and Sabres. But let's kick it off with some Bills talk. Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings have taken us down. We're 6-3, third in the division. You know, it's tough. It's tough. Dom, I see you scratching your chin there. It looks like you got something you want to say. What do you want to start off with, buddy?
Definitely a pretty tough loss. To be up 3 possessions at home and not get the job done is definitely going to be one of those you come back in the year and wonder how you lost that kind of game.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike?
Well, you see they stopped them on the 1 yard line, and you're like, oh, okay, we're gonna win here. Like, squeak by, they almost came back. No, let's just muff a snap on the goal line, let them score a touchdown. Okay. So get down the field. Yeah, okay. Kick a field goal overtime. Like, all right, let's just get the ball. Lose the coin toss. Okay, that's great. Hold them to a field goal. It's good. You got Josh, you got this offense. They can go down the field, score a touchdown. Get in the red zone. Let's just force it to Gabe Davis, who's covered, throw a pick, lose the game. Very good.
Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like...
That was literally the last, 30, 40 seconds of the fourth quarter, too. You could have added a lot more to that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just looking at it, this felt like it looked like Josh Allen was playing in 2019 again. I don't know about how you guys felt. I mean, he had some big plays, had some good plays, but also in there were those mistakes. I mean, Colin Cowherd's already made comments. You know what I mean? It's already out there. Oh, he looked great, but now he's making those good old Josh Allen mistakes again. I mean, it's just the past 2 weeks he's made those tough interceptions. You know what I mean? Like, it's been kind of, you look at it after, like, who is he throwing to? I mean, the Vikings, we were talking about they were a legit 7-1 team. They gave us a run for our money. So now they're 8-1, right? Same record as the Eagles.
I just don't understand. Like, is Josh Allen like anti-check down or something? Like,
yeah, I know.
He's throwing check downs. Like, I know he's probably like, being told he's the guy right now and that like he needs to be on to win. But like, you cannot force these throws. Like, just take the check downs. Like, Singletary's wide open. Like, just take it. Or if nothing's there, just throw it away. Play another down.
I agree with you.
I think what is frustrating about that, the first interception, honestly, if you actually like watch the play, it's not a bad play seeing that it's 4th down. And honestly, like if you look at the backside, he actually has Dawson Knox open. It's just Isaiah McKenzie, for whatever reason, runs out of bounds. So that freed up Patrick Pearson to come off him and pick it. You know what I mean? So that was more like really unfortunate. The second pick is just like Davis might have had like a half step, but it was a bad, like he threw it behind him. Like if he threw it high and away, maybe that's a touchdown. But when you throw it low and behind him, it was a pick. And I'm gonna say that he should have chucked it down to Singletary. I'll give him a semi pass on that. For one, if you look at the all 22 view, the wide view of the camera, he actually didn't have Singletary only would have probably gained like 3 or 4 yards. Now I'm saying it's 3 or 4 yards, it probably helps. And he was also blocking when Josh started to throw the ball, so it would I don't fully, but it comes down to the fact of the play call is Singletary is like the only one that's like not in the end zone. Like it was 2nd and 10 with a minute 20 to go. You have both timeouts. You're at the 18-yard line or whatever. Like you didn't have to
No,
score a touchdown on that. It wasn't 4th and 10, no time remaining. Like I don't understand the play call that they. I think Josh is making some really stupid mistakes, and I think he deserves criticism, a lot of criticism for this. But I think Ken Dorsey deserves just as much. I think both of them are completely at fault for what's going on.
Oh
with
yeah,
this
absolutely.
offense.
Like I said, I mean, well, like you said, Josh Allen does deserve a lot of fault here, but people are kind of overlooking Dorsey's involvement with this. I know we're going to talk about it in a little bit here. I mean, the running game, Singletary could have easily run there instead of forcing that throw. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I was watching it, and I just classic Bills, classic Buffalo sports at that point. The letdown, the lead up for the letdown. You know what I mean? But
Well,
I
you
mean,
talk about Billsy results, and I think that one might be like
yeah,
top of the cake.
yeah, that's like probably this season. The Dolphins was a tough loss, right? I mean, McKenzie didn't run out of bounds, whatever. That was
He
tough.
almost didn't do it again this week.
I know. I saw that again. And then the Gabe Davis catch on 4th down, or his catch on the sideline. I don't remember what down it was. That was not an actual catch. The NFL actually tweeted out.
It wasn't 4th down, but it was like that final drive.
Yeah, and they actually tweeted out and said that shouldn't have been a catch. Now Bill Belichick is asking for a rule change after that. He wants two coaches challenge within 2 minutes after that. So, but no, I mean there was a lot that went our way, like tipped the scale like in our direction on that. Still, like,
well, the Bills had 12 men on the field in that 1st and goal to 2 in overtime. So
yeah. I mean, I think before we get more into the negatives here, is there anyone on your minds that like stepped up and like moved into the, took the limelight in this awful game? Like let's just be honest here. Who is
Stephon Diggs?
Yeah,
insane catch against his former team.
He also dropped a crucial 3rd down pass, but we're gonna forget about that.
Yep. Just let that one go right over the head.
No, but he has to come down with that one. But I mean, if you told me he made the hard play, which is cool. So he played well. I actually thought like Gabe Davis had a pretty nice game. I thought it was like good in the beginning how they were able to get McKenzie involved with those manufactured touches, as we said.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like I think the play calling just kind of disappeared in the second half, and you didn't see him spreading the ball around as much as he did. Josh did, and they weren't running the ball at all. I don't think James Cook. I mean, we'll talk about it, so I don't want to spoil everything. But if I would say one person that really stepped up, he only played the first half, but Tremaine.
Yep, I would agree with you. He was my guy. Dom, hold that jersey up right now. Hold that jersey up. A Warren
and I will say this: I am one of the founders of the Tremaine Edmonds is Good foundation. You know, I've been here since day one. I'm a day one supporter. Joe,
I'm a bandwagon.
You're like a day 3000 supporter.
Yeah, I'm hopping on the Tremaine Edmonds bandwagon. I mean, he had a great game for when he was in, and when he was out, you felt that he was out of the game. So I mean, it was just his presence was missed on the field, and I mean, it's definitely tough. I hope he's fully healthy.
The Vikings were able to attack the middle of the field without Tremaine, and Tremaine took the middle of the field away when he was in. I mean, you saw he fouls Thielen up the seam on that last drive before the half. I mean, my man, if I am allowed to criticize him because I'm a day one supporter, he needs to get on that jugs machine or whatever because he dropped so many picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, countless times you see a lot of reps where he was winning against wide receivers in the middle of the field, which is not normal for a linebacker.
No.
And
I think he's proving a re-signing this year. I think we're going to sign him.
Fun fact about Tremaine. Tremaine now is the second highest graded linebacker according to PFF and is ranked first in coverage grade for 90.0. Number 3, Matt Milano.
Look at that. The Bills.
So also with his grades, he's slightly below. He's a good pass blitzer. He's slightly below average against the run, but he's been elite this year against coverage, which has been a huge step for him. But I gotta say it. I think Tremaine Edmonds and Jordan Poyer and some of those guys might be the new Chris Drury and Danny Briere, because I think Brandon Beane
Sabres
signed
reference in the Bills section
because Darcy Greer chose Thomas Vanek over those two guys and let those two guys go. Brandon Bean this offseason chose Dawson Knox over those two guys. Now, again, they could still get signed. But if they both walk off the door, I mean, what an absolute blunder that's looking to be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's very. Am I wrong? Like I think anyone here would say Tremaine Edmonds and Jordan Poyer are more valuable to the team than Dawson Knox. I'm not like roasting Dawson Knox. Like
they just don't use Dawson Knox.
They don't use him. He's a solid tight end, but I don't think a solid tight end should be making $14 million a year, especially when you're using him mostly as a run blocker and he's getting minimal targets. Like when you have an elite safety, I know he's a little bit past, not past prime, but at the end of his prime, and you have a stud linebacker that seems to just be getting better. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to pick. Like, it's kind of hard for me to pick the tight end over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand in the offseason maybe Dawson was having by the way, my stepped up player, Dom, I'm on the day 3000 bandwagon of the Tremaine train. So but
the Tremaine train.
The Tremaine train.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the Tremaine train. Look at that.
We said shirts.
Yes, make shirts with Dom's face on the Tremaine train. All right. But no, I think Dawson Knox might have looked better in the preseason, but now
I don't know about the preseason. I think
at the end of last season.
I think what they truly believed is that he was a difference-making tight end, a tight end that you had to scheme against. And this year they have not used him like that. So it's like, why would they? I don't know. It seems like to me that Bean and like McDermott and Dorsey just did not have a conversation about what Dawson Knox's role is going to be on this team. Yeah. And I truly believe if they knew what his role would be, he wouldn't have this contract because it just doesn't make any sense.
No, I 100% agree with you. I mean,
and also,
some people are calling for Frank Reich to become our OC. Just so you know, I've seen that.
Okay, I'm not saying it's completely anti. I think Dorsey's more good than bad, but the bad is getting a little bit too noticeable for my liking. But
yeah,
also like Tremaine calls the plays, and he's been in the locker room for 5 years. He's a captain, so I don't know, man.
And he's only 24.
Yeah, he's younger.
He's only 24. I wonder what kind. My only thing would be is if his contract's ridiculously high. If that's it, then I could understand it maybe, but. It's also not like you didn't pay Dawson Knox top 5 tight end money. So
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know. It's definitely interesting, and I would hope to see them make some room to sign him, at least one of them, like Poyer and him. But like you said, it might be that old school Sabres situation right there, where might have to let him walk, which would be a damn shame, if you will, a damn shame. But just getting back to the game. Who stood out to you? Like who sucked? Who stunk it up? Who's the worst one? Who's the worst one on the field?
It's a tough question to ask. I would say the secondary of the Bills. Well, I think they are obviously not super talented, and they tried their best. And Justin Jefferson's arguably, maybe even I don't know if it's arguable. Anyway, after his performance last week, might be the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
I just think they just got overmatched by him, and they didn't. I mean, it just comes down to Cam Lewis doesn't knock the ball down. I would just say that the defense to me was underwhelming in the fact of I think they played a very good game for the first. I'm trying to do the math in my head.
Like 3 quarters,
or nearly 3 quarters before the drive before the 80-yard touchdown,
like 40 minutes,
and then they just fell apart and. Yeah, I think part of it's the offense was not able to sustain really great drives, but it also comes down to the fact that the Bills defense, who are supposedly the number 1 defense in the NFL, had multiple chances to win this football game. Now, granted, someone's going to say they did because they got the stop on 4th and goal at the half-yard, and good for you. But I mean, you didn't put your team in the best spot, even if you got the stop. So, but 4th and 18, knock the ball down, you win. Well, there was a 4th on that touchdown drive in the 4th quarter to make it 27-23. 4th and 1, couldn't get the stop, even though you had an opportunity. You had 2 guys. Taron Johnson missed the tackle. I can't remember. I think it might have been Cam Lewis that had him at the half yard and let him get another yard. And then 4th and 6, you get another conversion. So, I mean, the defense is not without fault here. They had opportunities to win the game for this team, and they didn't come through.
No, I would agree with that. I mean, Mike, do you have anybody specific, or you on the same? You're on the defense train there.
Yeah, no, kind of the same there. I mean, I don't really know what
No,
else
I
to
mean
add?
Cam Lewis even said in a post game interview, he said he got greedy and should have just swatted the ball. Like he got greedy and went for the interception, and that ended up converting that Justin Jefferson catch. So I mean,
He helped them catch the ball.
yeah, pretty much held it in his hand for him. So,
Mhm.
but he said he should have swatted it. I'm not fully forgiving him, but at least he knows. You know what I mean? Like that was detrimental. I couldn't believe that happened when I watched it. But I mean,
Yeah,
just
4th and 18.
yeah, 4th and 18. We like that conversion does
We let
not
up like
normally
what, 3
happen.
4th downs in a row or something.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
you would like also. I know he got a sack on that last drive before regulation, but you'd have liked an overtime for Vaughn to make a play. Like, I mean, you're paying him a lot of money. I know he got the sack. True, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Oliver had a nice game. I thought he was very
He
solid.
did. We were talking
But
about how he needed to step up a little bit too, and he finally did a little bit. So
Apinesa, I thought, had a really good first half for facing group, but second half on, it's like, where's Jordan Phillips? Is he on this team anymore? Like, he's
yeah.
just kind of just.
He had
I mean,
a false start or offside.
I
Mhm.
could have bet you $100 that on that 4th and 1 he was gonna 4th and goal. I knew
Yeah.
he was gonna fall. He always offsides, but he always like does that. It's like, dude, you're terrible at time. Stop doing that.
Yeah. No, that was blatant too. He jumped right
Not to
across the
mention,
line.
not to mention, that could have cost the Bills the game, because if he doesn't jump offsides and they get the stop, and so the same play has happened where they fumble the ball and they score a touchdown, the Bills could have had 1st and goal at the 9-yard line with 11 seconds to go instead of 5 seconds to go, and they would have had a throw in the end zone. No one remembers that play. That extra 5-6 seconds that
go.
Jordan Phillips wasted.
Yeah. No,
Sorry,
you're right.
I sound a lot familiar than I intended to, but I mean, no, but that's a play that's underrated when you look back at it. I didn't even think of that until I just went over it in my head. But like, that play kind of cost the Bills a little bit of time. And
Yeah. No,
I
you're
mean,
absolutely
maybe
right.
you kind of wanted to. If you knew the result, would you rather have Kirk just score the QB sneak, and then you would have had another 6 seconds from the 9? But
Yeah, kind of a let him score scenario.
but and honest to God, hindsight is undefeated. Like,
Oh yeah.
what are you gonna do? My one
Hindsight's
question is
20/20.
this: did you agree with the decision to go for it? 4th and 2 at the 5, down up by 10.
I would have kicked a field goal.
Yeah, at that point, the Madden in me wants to go for it, but in real game time situation, absolutely kick the field goal, take the 3 points, because those 3 points, look at the difference that would have made at the end. Then again, hindsight's 20/20.
Hindsight's 20/20. I agree with the decision. I don't know why you have 4th and 2. If you have the best quarterback in the NFL, you should be able to get 2 yards, and especially because I look at it from this perspective. It fails, you're still up 2 scores. If you kick the field goal, you're still only up 2 scores. If it's successful, you have potentially to go up 3 scores. And yes, I think part of the decision is now a little roastable because the Vikings missed a PAT, and if they would have just kicked the field goal, it would have been 30-30, and you would have drove down the field potentially to win. But you can't bank on a missed PAT from a kicker in the NFL. So
Yeah.
I disagree with that. And also, it kind of comes down to the fact of the decision by the Ravens against the Bills, actually, when they went for it, 4th and goal from the 5, and Lamar throws the pick in the end zone. I don't think McDermott thought, oh yeah, if this play doesn't work, Josh is going to throw a pick and they're going to have the ball actually at their 36. Like, he was thinking, like, if this play fails, they're going to have to get the ball at the 5 and have to drive down the field. So, I mean, I like the decision. I just don't like the execution of the decision. And then it came back to bite them. But I don't think the decision in the moment was not wrong. I think it was the right
that
decision.
definitely
It was just
is accurate.
poor play call, poor execution. I mean, it's kind of like, I'll be honest, it's the story of the Bills in short yardage and situational football. Like,
Yeah.
every time they get in the red zone, Josh, I believe, is third, or it was before the game, but he was third in expected points added out of like 55 quarterbacks. In the red zone, he's 52nd. Like, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the red zone this year. It's kind of like, it feels a little bit like it's a Josh issue, but it also feels like it's a little bit of a Dorsey issue that he's just not getting. The plays are just not working in the red zone. Like, I don't know what to
No.
tell you. And also, it comes down to the fact of the Bills scored 2 touchdowns running the ball inside the 5-yard line, and they just get away from the ground game. Like, I don't know what's up with that. And people in these short yard situations are daring the Bills to run the ball.
Oh
And
yeah.
they just can't do it. And they won't do it. It's
Mhm.
the what? the one play in the second half, they don't run the ball. Josh throws an incompletion, they kick the field goal. I'm sorry, they might have punted on that one or whatever. Duke Johnson, they run the ball, but the running of Duke Johnson on 3rd and 2, like, give me a break on that. They can't even get 2 yards against a light front. And then we get second and goal at the 2. From the 5, they do a stupid tight end screen. Like, what was that? You run a tight end screen on the 5-yard line?
Yeah.
What do you think was going to happen? They run another terrible play of terrible spacing between McKenzie and Gabe Davis. It looked like there was a miscommunication or whatever. I have the pick on 4th down. I mean, it's brutal. I don't know what to tell you. It's just brutal.
You put it perfectly, brutal. There's no other way to go about it. And I would have liked to see more run game. I mean, and especially.
Damn, I love the sound of that. You're sipping on your drink.
Oh yeah, Dom, sipping over there.
But, sorry, I was very thirsty.
He's getting heated about this Bills loss. Okay, and I think the biggest question is, why did we? If we look at Miami, for instance, here, right? They traded for Jeff Wilson Jr., right? Same day the Bills did.
We traded for Jeff Wilson Jr.?
No, for Hines. Sorry. Traded for Hines. Where is Hines on the field? But Jeff Wilson Jr. scoring 22 fantasy points and doing very well. Like, and where's James Cook? Like what is happening? Like Singletary motor. I tweeted out motoring like as soon as he was going. Like it was awesome, but there's no consistency in run plays, like you were saying, and especially with a running back that we traded for and a rookie running back that we need to be getting field experience.
But you spent a valuable pick on.
Right, exactly. Like what are we doing? Like I do not understand it. And there was no reason for them not to call run plays yesterday. That it was very
especially
effective.
Especially when up by 3 possessions.
Yes, exactly. Like I was calm coming into the podcast about this. This just reignited all the anger I had because I simply can't wrap my head around it. I really can't. I don't quite. You know why they don't show Ken Dorsey in the booth anymore? Because he probably punches the camera, like after these 2 games. You know what I mean? Like, but I can't. Mike, do you have anything? Like, what do you think on? I gotta stop. I'm gonna make myself mad.
Yourself and get a nice little glass of water for yourself.
Yeah, I might.
No, I just think it's really annoying how like you always see like these game of the year and like all these memorable games, and it's like we're always on the losing end of these games. It's like I don't know, we're just like cursed, like just permanently unlucky when it comes to stuff like this. But like it's just like I don't know, when it seems like when it really comes down to it, we just can't execute.
No, and part of me is like, okay, it's Ken Dorsey's first year as offensive coordinator, but you were under Brian Dable as a QB coach for that long. Like, I mean, I don't know. Don, what do you think on that?
I think my frustration with Dorsey is they use motion 9. They're like 9th in the NFL in motion, and motion is just free. I mean, anytime you go in motion, it seems like you're causing havoc for the defense. And like you see like the Chiefs and like the Dolphins, the Niners, like teams that are really smart offensively, they use a ton of motion and they give you free layups for your quarterback. And it feels to me like, I mean, Mahomes, like I know this isn't even bashing Mahomes, it's just facts. Like Mahomes with Reed, like Reed gives him a lot of easy layups, but also Mahomes, to his credit, is willing to take those layups. I think it's now going to come down to Dorsey has to do a better job of incorporating more motion, getting more easier plays for Allen. Yes, Allen can make those unbelievable throws, but you can only need to do them maybe once or twice a game. You don't need to be calling them consistently. Like, make it easier for your star quarterback. And then you have to talk to your star quarterback and say, hey, we're going to do more of this so it's easier for you, but you need to buy in and make it easier for yourself. Like, we can't do it. I mean, we can't do it for you. We can't throw the ball for you, but like you have to be willing to do that. Like Mike said, be willing to take more checkdowns, be willing to shorten up the route tree a little bit more, focus more. I mean, we talked all this offseason about Yak. Like, just get people the ball. They have very solid playmakers when the ball is in their hands.
Oh, and not to mention that running back Nyheim Hines we traded for is at the top of the league in yak after catch for receiving running backs, like whenever he's played. So I mean, it'd be nice to maybe use him for that.
Well, it's also frustrating that Duke Johnson gets a 3rd and 2 carry. Anyone on your roster, you give the ball to Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't trust Hines to also be the kickoff returner too. Like, you wasted the roster spot kind of. I don't saying Duke Johnson was bad at returning the kickoffs.
No,
but,
he actually had a couple good ones. I was
why is
surprised.
Hines is a good punt returner? Is he just not allowed to be the kick returner? He's just not in the offense. James Cook, to his credit, I think has played really well when he's getting some touches. Like, he's one of the big issues for him coming out of college was his contact balance, or it was a struggle potentially if he was able to, after first contact, get yards. But we've seen it time and time again. He turns the corner, he takes the hit from the linebacker, he stays up and gets another 3 or 4 yards, and they're just not using him. And it's kind of like, why? I mean, he's your most probably. Hines is probably the answer, but James Cook's probably one of your more athletic, probably your most athletic running back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more athletic than Singletary. No offense to Devin. Like, also, I say this. I am so done with these draw plays with Singletary. Like, why do they keep doing that? Every time they run that play, he gets hit like behind the line of scrimmage. Like, keep doing the outside runs. Like,
that's what he is. He's not going to go up through the line. Like, that is, we found that out last year. And guess what? When they started not doing that, when Dable started not calling those plays, we were yelling motor in pretty much every drive because the dude was flying. Like, don't send him up the middle. Like, oh my God, it's so aggravating. It's to the point now where it's like, we know where our players are. We've seen Singletary for the past few years. We know what he's best at. Why don't you do what he's best at? Like, and use these other running backs and try the draw plays with them, but like, don't use Singletary for that. You know, that's not going to work. Like, it should be up here at this point. Like, the team, Dorsey's been around for a while, like, just do what they're best at. Don't try and force them into something, because that's when they underproduce, and use the people we have. It's just so aggravating.
I just think it's frustrating that it seems that so many players. I mean, these guys have been on the Bills team, as you said, Joe, for a lot of them for at least 3 seasons, and it just feels like, I mean, Dorsey's been here the whole time, and he just does he not know his roster? Like, it just seems like every player other than Diggs is getting underutilized in some way, and getting put in positions that aren't their necessary position of strength, which is, I mean, it just ends up being bad coaching, and then it leads to not be able to execute. Like, for every reason. Like, I know Josh is banged up, and they probably didn't want to run him, but, like, you run 2 really good QB powers against the Jets. Like, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, like, just where is that? Or where is like that play with the Colts where, like, he could ad-lib and potentially throw it if he gets in trouble? Like, just where the, I don't know.
They were doing that too on that overtime drive. He rushed for good chunks of the field. Like,
that was scrambling, though.
He scrambled and he gained a ton of yardage. Like, I don't know, maybe like that should have told you. Maybe use the ground game, because I get it. They're in pass defense. He scrambled, right? He did what Josh Allen does, and he was great. But I don't know. That's simply it. I don't know. I mean, the Browns are coming here this week. It's going to be a snowy game. All right. The snowstorm's moving in. I got the beanie on,
Should be interesting. See if we can stop Browns run game.
Yeah.
Chubb.
Not a great
got
matchup.
Chubb. I mean, we're going to talk about that on the Betting on the Bills episode this week, but I mean, especially if it's windy and snowy, we're going to need some run game here. And I think we got to see these guys come out and play. I mean,
see,
it's just, I don't know, man.
I mean, the coaching just kind of it's just been weird. Like, I think all of us are pounding the table for Jaquan Johnson to get off the field.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of us expected Cam Lewis, who's a converted cornerback, to make his first NFL start at safety. And that, I mean, I don't think Cam Lewis at times was bad, but on the biggest plays of the game, he was bad. Like the Dalvin Cook touchdown. Like, yes, Christian Benford misses him in the hole, but Cam Lewis takes a bad angle on Dalvin Cook and he's gone. Like, I don't know if he took a good angle, does he get him down? I don't know. But I mean, Justin Jefferson catch, like, again, it just,
you got to just take deep breaths.
It just seems like it's been it's just tough, and especially when now you're down potentially Tremaine, who is playing at a high level. You don't have your all-pro safety and Poyer probably still. I mean, I don't know.
Trey White, we don't know what's going on with him, so it's just like,
you don't probably want. I mean, Groot was week to week. I doubt he plays this week, so just. And he's your best run defender against, as Mike said, I don't want to get too far into it, but I mean, a bad matchup in that Cleveland front. I mean, I don't know. What needs to change? What do you think needs to change for them to reach their ceiling?
I mean, it's going to just have to be more consistency with the ground game. I think that's the biggest thing. And just getting healthy on defense, like getting Tremaine back out there full, because he's been, like you said, playing at a very high level. Tre'Davious White needs to get back out there. I mean, we were talking before the show, and we don't know whether or not he could have had another setback, and they're not saying anything because he's been cleared, he's been activated. Like, what did it say on the injury report for him last week? Do you know? Any idea?
I don't know. Probably limited action.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. And now we're sitting at 3rd in the AFC East and 6th in the AFC Conference. Like, this is not where I expected us to be at this season, and that might just be the biased Bills fan in me. But we also last season had to deal with something like this, so I'm not
concerned about that because the Bills have 4 more divisional games down the stretch, so it's not like they don't have an opportunity.
Well, and like you said on the betting on the Bills episode last week, it doesn't matter your record in the actual season. All that matters is how you play in December, January, and February, hopefully. So
all that matters is what's your record in the postseason.
Exactly.
Does it have a number other than 0 at that loss column?
I don't know. I think we need more consistency at the run game, and Josh needs to take the checkdowns. I think that's big, and not try and play hero ball. I feel like we're a broken record. We've said that for the past 3 weeks. I think stop the hero ball.
I think it's just getting healthy defensively and simplifying. I don't know if simplifying the offense is the right word, but making easier outs for Josh, and Josh willing to take those. I think is going to be the key to the Bills getting back to those first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Pre-buy Bills.
Pre-buy Bills. Absolutely. Mike, what do you think?
No, I mean, I agree. I think Allen trying to play hero ball has really just ridded him of MVP.
Yeah. Do we think he's completely out of the conversation now after this game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah. I mean, if they get hot, maybe. But right now, my pick of that certain quarterback that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs looking pretty nice for right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they come back on this season. I just think, run game and checkdowns and just more consistency overall. But that's going to conclude our Bills talk. But before we head into the Sabres talk, I want to bring up to everyone here the Sports Bring People Together podcast. Listen for entrepreneurial conversations with those in sports, and who knows where the chats will take you, but sports got us all together in the first place. And you can find this show wherever you listen to your podcast, or simply visit sportseplus.com. And fellas, talking about a difficult week for the Bills. Oh boy, Sabres have lost 3 straight since we last talked about them on the pod, and we were at one of those games, the Jack Eichel return game. So, I mean, did we have record predictions going into the week, or did we just predict I think
I said 1-1 or something.
I said 2-1. I think
Mike was the closest. I think Joe and I said 2-1. And you guys didn't want to predict 0-3.
Yeah. I
would not under 500 on the season now. 7-8.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think we expected. I don't know if we expected to beat Vegas. Jack, whatever. I mean, guys, I think the first game back was way more important to it than his second game back, and his first
100%. The first game was way more notable.
And I don't know, the one goal is an empty netter, and then the first goal was just like a gimme right to him. Bad. He also lucky rebound.
And the second goal was terrible goaltending.
Yeah, it was a garbage time goal. But
and then
there were 2
Boston game, we played better than Boston. Just collapsed in the third period.
Yeah.
Seems like they can't score that big time goal at the
only person scoring right now is Tage.
Yeah. I know. It's just it's tough right now because I think if you look at their record, you're gonna be disappointed. They're 7-8, not playing the best hockey right now. Joe, your Stanley Cup prediction looking a little grim, a little bit grim.
Yeah, what was my record prediction? 50-24 or 28-4. Yeah, 50-28-4. That ain't happening.
But I think what gives me solace at the end of the day is that they're playing good hockey, and eventually you gotta expect like their luck to turn around.
Yeah.
I think
Buffalo.
we said that at the
Buffalo.
beginning.
He says
we
it
said
the
that-
best right there, Buffalo.
But we said that in the beginning of the year, it kind of felt like they were getting really elite goaltending and they were
Mhm.
getting elite finishing. And now that the finishing has gone back to down to average and the goaltending is now starting to become below average,
Mhm.
you're starting to lose games, even though you're playing very well on 5-on-5. And it just, I don't know, it comes down to a couple of things that we're going to talk about, but I'm still optimistic about. I'm not going to say they make the playoffs, but I still think they're playing good hockey, and I think these 3
Right.
games they play good hockey. Well, no, I'll actually debate that. I'll go back on that one. The Coyotes game, the Coyotes game, they outplayed the Coyotes, but I don't think they played well. Like I
Right.
think there's a difference between outplaying. Like the Coyotes are just bad. Vegas, they stuck with them for 40 minutes and then got dominated in the third period. And then Boston's like, I think, is it Boston the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference? Like
Yes.
they outplayed Boston, and they just couldn't get the job done.
That seems to be the way it's going, like as a whole, with these games we lost. We're hanging with these good teams for a good fraction of the game, 2/3 of the game, and then we just crumble in that third period, So it's just, I don't know. It's tough, but also you're right, Dom, in the fact that Tage is looking absolutely fantastic. There are spots of greatness we're seeing here, but it's not all culminating in like the record at this point. I think, like Mike said, it's Buffalo, right? So, I mean, there are other factors at play here, like some curses and stuff. But, I mean, I think we're on the right track. We're moving forward. I mean, people are like, oh, it's the November crash. Like, they're not going to do as well. They start off hot. But I think also, if you look back, like people are like, oh, they were on a 10-game win streak at this time. They were playing
that was a couple years ago.
But they were playing bad hockey and somehow winning in a lot of those cases, where they're playing decent hockey and losing. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. And we have people looking up, like Owen Power has looked all right, like pretty good in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like better than I thought he was going to this season. Tage Thompson's looked great, like I said. I mean, it's just at this point, I think passing is big too. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on with the Sabres right now, I think. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Well,
yeah,
I think,
no, I mean, like,
no. You go.
No, I'll just say, like, I think we all expected them to not be the best team, but like improvement from last year, which I would say has been a thing. Young team, inexperienced. Like you're gonna have your rough patches. Always seem to start the year hot and then cool off.
Yeah.
And then the last like few weeks of the year were pretty good again.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think I trust Granato can develop the right players. I don't know if necessarily like, I don't know. I mean, we're playing Vancouver tonight. Like they're a team that's struggling a lot, so we need to take advantage of that. I don't think we're gonna go on a 4-game losing streak.
Hopefully.
Well,
Let's not
I
speak
think
that into existence.
I think they already are at a 4. They're on a 5-game losing streak. I'm pretty sure.
Whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
But
We got to break the streak.
I think it comes down to the season. Well, team wise, you would say that they aren't very good. I would say there's been a lot more positives so far than negatives, and eventually, like I would say, like by next couple weeks, like I think maybe the moral victories start to dry up for me, where like maybe then they have to start at least producing some points. But Owen Powers played very well. Dahlin's played very well. He's played kind of mediocre since he came back from injury, so we'll see if he could get back to that Norris level. Cousins has played well. Paterka and Quinn, are playing better than you'd think rookie forwards would be able to be. Tage has been one of the best players. He's on pace for 60 goals. I mean, he's
right.
Yeah.
He's shooting at such a high volume, and shooting above expected is just an amazing season for that young lad.
Dude, fishing in the dark better just be on repeat in that stadium. His goal song. I mean, at this point, like, come on.
Yeah, no, it's weird how now we're starting to get healthy on the back end, and now the forwards are starting to go down.
Yeah,
Yoki Haru should be back. Samuelson is getting closer. I think he was skating, and they're going to see how he felt, see if he can come back this week or next week. But we called up Bjork and Riley Sheehan. Big guns.
So obviously Oposo being banged up, which I gotta be honest, like I was kind of a little bit like, okay, take a couple days off Oposo, because I didn't want Quinn to get scratched again, because again, that was dumb.
Yep.
That was dumb.
Yep.
Quinn's played very well. I know the points haven't really come for him, but he's played very well two-way game. And unfortunately now he's injured, but I mean, like, he's done for the week apparently. I don't know how. I mean, it's kind of weird that they're already like ruled him out for the week. I don't know what kind of injury he has, but
Yeah, not specific. They just said he's
like
out.
I mean, losing those two guys, hurts the team. And now I just don't understand why they replaced him with Sheehan and York. Like, I could get Sheehan as like the veteran, but why can't you give? I'm not saying give Kulich or Rosine or and maybe another younger forward that just started the AHL, like give him a whole year. I mean, Patricia and Quinn ripped up the AHL and they scored a combined, and they played in a combined 4 games in the NHL. So like, I'm not talking like I don't think those guys, but like maybe get another game of Brett Murray, get another game of Sean Malone, get Linus Westback, another, like your older prospects in the AHL. I would much preferably see those guys get an opportunity than Andrews Bjork. Like is Andrews Burke really going to help the team? Probably not. Is Brett Murray probably going to help the team? Probably not. But do I get another game with data of what Brett Murray gives me? Yes. And that's more important for me than what Andrews Burke's going to do for the team. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, it comes down to that. And then it comes down to like how they've played out this entire defense injuries have just been really just malpractice. I mean, just been really like terrible. Like, okay, they don't trade for Ethan Bear. Fine. Whatever. They didn't want to give up an asset. Mike Riley was literally free on waivers. No, Grant, it would cost them $3 million to pick him up this year and $3 million next year. Mike Riley is has played top 4 minutes for 2 teams. He's a legit defenseman. He could have top 4 upside. He's also played on the power play. So he can also, if you wanted to do like the cool idea of having Dahlin and Power on the same power play 1, but you're like, oh, I don't know who's going to quarterback power play 2. Boom, there's your solution to that category. Like, he'd easily probably be, I mean, when Samuelson comes back, probably your 4th best defenseman. And he plays on the right side. I know he's left shot, but he plays on the right side. So that also helps that problem. So I just don't understand it. I don't understand why they didn't choose to need to boost a defenseman. I know you maybe don't want to like lock yourself something up into next year, but he's actually a good player. So I don't understand.
It'd be an investment. You're right. I don't quite get that either. That's just kind of, I don't know. It's a big question mark. I want to just smack that on my forehead because I have no idea.
I'm sorry that I don't want to see Casey Fitzgerald throw another pass into someone's skates, or Lawrence Pilot get pushed off the puck again, or Cal Clegg just doing Cal Clegg stuff. Like, I'm sorry that I want an actual NHL defenseman. Like, nothing wrong with those guys. Those guys are solid AHLers. Definitely will help the program in Rochester. You're counting on those guys to play legit minutes at the NHL level. Like, no one thought, hey, maybe that's not a great idea. Maybe that's why we're losing games.
Yeah, you got a point. I understand your frustration. I'm right there with you. I mean, it's just, it makes no sense. They definitely should have claimed Riley to have that other, real NHL defenseman. Like, it's ridiculous to me. I don't know.
And it doesn't help that Eric Comrie's kind of played pretty mediocre in the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Now, Grant, that's a lot of unlucky bounces, I would say. But he also still just he also hasn't played well. I mean, you could have two things can be true at once.
Now, looking at Comrie, would you think he solidified himself as a good backup goalie, or is he a starter still? Like, if you had to pick.
I mean, on a good team, he's a backup.
Yeah.
But for us,
I think like he had the chance to prove he was a starting goaltender, and I don't think he's proved that.
I think he's proved he's a backup. But it's also the problem of they're making him the starter because they're only playing Anderson every so often. And it's kind of like at one point, do you just... I know UPL hasn't lit up in Rochester. He doesn't have good career stats in Rochester. But at one point, do you just call up UPL and be like, all right, we're just going to roll 3 goaltenders?
I mean, I feel like soon, because that might be something that they need. I mean, you got the Tom Brady of the NHL in the net. I mean, Tom Brady would mean he's fantastic. I should say, what's a good comparison, you think? Like, if we had to talk about Matt Ryan of the NHL in that, that's perfect, Dom. Perfect. Matt Ryan of the NHL in that has some ups, has some good games, has some downs, has some pretty rough games. So, I mean, but he is 41 years old. You can't really be asking so much. You know what I mean? Like, you can't ask him for everything. So I think they might have to.
I think they're doing I actually think they're doing a good job managing Anderson.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just the problem is you don't actually have a starting goaltender next to him. You have Comrie, who's more of a backup. So that's why they should have a third goaltender up to take the load off Comrie.
right, exactly. And I mean, I think if that move's going to happen, I think we see it soon. I mean, what do you think? Like, what's the timeline on that? Would you say?
Dude, who knows? I don't,
Yeah, no, you have no
I
idea.
can't. I don't think you can make predictions on what the Sabres are gonna do, but
No.
it's been tough goaltending. Mike, what is your thoughts on the super pair? I want to know what do you think of the super pair of Power and Dahlin?
I mean, I personally would split them up just so that you can have two. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have them on the ice at separate times than having them together, but it hasn't been bad. It's your future franchise defenseman right there.
I mean, I think both of them have played well, and they played well together. I mean, you saw it. I can't remember if it was Vegas. I think it might have been Boston. That Power had 29 minutes, and Dahlin had like 20 and a half, whatever. But for me, it just comes down to, like, this is the wrong time to try that out. Like, if you put those two guys together, then you have Bryson, Pilot, Fitzgerald,
Yeah,
and then a labored Labushkin. Like, I don't know who. Like, did anyone think that? Hey, like, we're gonna have our two best defensemen on the ice for half the time. The other half of the time, we're gonna have crap, and more crap on the ice. Like, it does. Like, I would say situational. It would be good. Like, if you have them on separate pairs, and 5 minutes left in the game, you're down a goal, you need a goal. Boom, put them on the ice together. Like, that would work. Having them on the ice for the whole game just exposes the weakness of your defense depth, and it just. I mean, I think it's bad coaching, to be honest.
yeah, I would definitely have separated them, because you've got a stacked top line now for defense, and from that point forward, the cookie crumbles, you could say. So, I think it's going to be tough for them to keep up, but I mean, we'll see. There's been a lot of experimentation going on, and now I mean, the lines, aren't they back to Skinner, Thompson, Tuck offensively on the top line too? So, I mean, I guess experimentation's good, but I guess when you're trying to get above 500, maybe kind of play it safe. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't mind the experimentation, but I think this is the wrong time to experiment with that.
Yeah.
Which the labor.
I mean, if Samuelson and Yoki Haru were here, then fine, like, go for it, like, give it a go. But they aren't, and I don't know. It's just been really frustrating, I think, with Granato's decisions this year. I guess because he has more pressure on him, it just seems like every decision he makes is more criticized than it has in the past. There are no expectations. But I mean, I was really mad when they scratched Jack Quinn. I will say this: Vinny deserves to be in the lineup. Like, I mean, we saw it up close in that Vegas game. Like, he was flying around the puck, making plays. Like, he definitely deserves to be playing. And I really liked the young line of Peterka, Cousins, and Quinn. Like, I thought that was that line really dominated the Bruins. I know it was unfortunate that I didn't believe that they were on the ice for that last goal, but I mean, that wasn't an indicator of their performance at all. They dominated. And, like, I think it's because, JJ and Jack have really played complete NHL games, which I don't think anyone expected to in the beginning of the year. And Cousins has taken that next step into being a really solid top six center. And that's a really dope line. Like, if they could roll that line out, like, unfortunately, no, they can't for another week because Quinn got hurt. But
yeah, no, but start moving forward after
line.
injury. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. They did hold their own pretty, like, against a good Boston team. I mean, it's really cool to see, but I mean, like you said, unfortunately, we have an injury striking that from happening in the near future. So, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like, the game tonight, like, what are you thinking about, like, going into it? Like, is that
well before one quick before we talk about that? I think the whole that young line really reminds me of another young line. Now, maybe they won't have the ceiling of this line, but the Tampa Bay Lightning went to the Stanley Cup final in 2015. They had the triplet line of Palat, Kucherov, and Johnson. 3 very young players all playing together, growing pains together, learning together. All 3 of them became very good players. I mean, Kucherov's a Hart Trophy winner. I don't know if any of them are going to be Hart Trophy winners, but I don't think it's a bad idea to put those two together and just say, you're going to have off nights. We're going to keep rolling with you. Like, have that be like your second line. You have the Skinner, Thompson, Tuck line as your first line.
Yeah.
Then you got to figure out the bottom six. But the problem with that, and Mike, I think you're going to really like this one. Saw a clip of After the Whistle with Craig Rivet and Andrew Peters, your boys. And they actually made a really good point on one time of, if you talk to every single Sabres forward and you said, what is your role in the team? Probably like 10 or even all of them would say top six forward. And they're not. They're not. Like, you're not. And I think the problem that's happened is Granato's playing this freestyle to just develop players. But at some point, you need to tell players, like, hey, this is actually your role. Like, you need to start establishing roles on this team.
Well, that's the type of coach Granato is. He's a player development coach.
Do you think that'll hinder them in the future? Like once they develop?
In a way, I think once they get older and they become the players they are, that'll hurt, because I think it's beneficial to have them as a coach of a young team. But once they're who they're going to be in the league, I think it's going to be tough.
Just think, Joe. Right now, every week we criticize him for the decisions he makes. Think of a team that actually has high expectations, cup winning. Like, think if he did some of the stuff in the playoffs and it cost the Sabres a playoff series. Like, I'm sorry, like, that's what it comes down to. And the fact of, like, I think Skinner, Thompson, Tuck, Peterka, Cousins, Quinn's not hurt, but like, that's an interesting top six. And I truly believe that those potentially could probably be their best six forwards.
Yeah.
And then, there's a couple of guys that I think have a role that they buy into. Like, Aspen's kind of the, throw me around the lineup and I'll be the defensive stopper. Oposo, leadership, kind of more of a defensive game, dump and chase. If Gergenson's kind of forechecking, Hinostroza kind of a energizer bunny and that stuff. But then you look at Olofsson and Middlestat, and it's like those two guys think they're top six forwards.
Yeah,
like those guys think their roles are to be point.
I wouldn't even have Middlestat on the roster. I said that at the beginning of the year.
And what the true fact is, Middlestat should be a fourth liner and a power. He's actually very good on the penalty kill, like a power kill. He's actually very good at creating offensive chances for on your penalty kill, which could help your special teams. Like, that should be his niche. Olofsson should be another niche of, hey, I'm going to be on the ice, I'm going to play solid, and I'm going to be in positions to shoot the puck, and then I'm going to be a power play specialist. Like, but then those two don't warrant spots then for me then if they're going to be those. But that's what they are, and that's what their role should be. But they're viewed as, oh, I'm a top six winger, and I'm a top six center, and they just ain't.
No, yeah, they need to be told how it is. Like, they're just
get in there, Joe.
What do you mean get in there? Just what? I'll tear him apart. You kidding me? Casey Middlestat thinks he's a top six forward. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This guy scores one goal and then he's king of the world. You know what I mean? Like the punch in the glass and everything.
He has 1 point on 5-on-5 through 15 games.
Yeah, no way. No way. No way. The dude was only good when he played for the juniors, right? I mean, like that when we got him first, like he looked great. Since we've had him, he's been absolute poo-poo. And I think, honestly, looking at it, I said this season was do or die for him. Did I not? At the beginning, remember? It was do or die for Middlestat.
I do remember that.
I think he's dying. The fact that he only has 1 point in 5-on-5, like, come on. How do you keep that around on your team? You can't. You just can't. You can't. We won't see him next season. I'm calling it right now. But Don Granato's in love with them. You know what I mean? And I think we've mentioned at that Golden Knights game, he scored that goal. Oh, that's 10 more games of Middlestat. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like because Granato's just in love with the guy. I don't know why. I wouldn't be. I would have cut him. I don't care what you're paying him. Just cut him. Get him out of there. He's gone. That's my little rant on Casey Middlestat. But
it's fair.
Do you agree? I don't know.
I mean, like, I agree that he should be off the team, but I also would agree that he has some trade value across the league where you could trade him for like a mid-round pick at least.
Yeah, you're right. No, maybe get him for something while we still can. Like, that's kind of where we're at. You know what I mean? Because another season where he only has 1 point in 5-on-5, if he continues on that trend, I mean, like, come on, like, he's not going to be worth anything. He's going to go down and play in the AHL or something. I don't know. He's barely make there. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Tell us how you really feel.
Crack my neck or something.
Yeah. maybe Mike needs a chiropractor. I don't know.
Chiropractor is nice. All right, so let's transition to the predictions of the week. So they play home against Vancouver, who is terrible.
Yeah.
They play on the road against Ottawa. on tomorrow. I'm sorry, Wednesday. So they do play back to back, and then they play in Toronto for the first game against Toronto this Saturday, and then again they play in not again, but they play Montreal Tuesday. So we'll be back for that one. So they have another 3-game stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm being like really positive, like saying, "Oh, they're gonna go 2-1 on us," but I just truly believe that the puck is gonna start falling their way somehow. I don't know. I'm gonna go 2-1 again. Maybe I'm being a little. I don't think I'm being optimistic though, because I think they're getting more unlucky than they're playing bad. And Vancouver's a bad team. And I mean, I expect them to beat one of Ottawa or Toronto. So I'll say 2-1.
I agree with you. I'm going 2-1. I think they're going to beat the Maple Leafs and the Canucks. They beat Ottawa already this season, did they not?
Yes, they beat them on the home opener.
I think that might be a tough second game, especially the way it's been going. Mike is
3-0.
Yeah, he's more positive.
Okay.
All right, 3-0, Mike. 2-1, 2-1, and 3-0.
Two struggling teams and a team that we have played really well against the past few times.
That's true. They're definitely gonna be I think Vancouver is a bad team, and they're gonna be motivated. They're always but like they're motivated to play the division. So I expect them to show up.
All right.
So last week our scoring predictions were as follows: Joe was Skinner and Tage, Mike was Tuck and Tuck, and then
Tuck.
Dominic was Tage and Darlene. So Dominic got half of it right with Tage Thompson leading with 4 goals, and Joe got the other half right with Tage Thompson leading in points because he had 4 goals, no assists for 4 points. Mike didn't get anything right, but Mike was correct on the fact that it was going to be one player that was leading in goals and points.
Oh,
just picked the wrong player.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Look at that.
So
it's interesting. I didn't even think about that.
I'm going to be cheesy here, and I'm gonna take the same strategy Mike had, but I'm gonna go Skinner and Skinner.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
I'm sticking with Tuck.
You're sticking with Tuck and Tuck?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna split you down the middle there. I'm gonna go Skinner and Tuck.
No Tage.
I think Tage has been playing really well, but I think we're going to see some other people get some opportunities in these next couple games, especially, Skinner. Whitney Houston's got to be playing in there at some point. We got to get him in there, and Tuck's going to step it up. He will. I mean, he's going to play pretty well.
So you said Skinner for goals?
Skinner for goals and Tuck for points.
What about Vinny?
Honestly, that wouldn't be a bad pick. The dude's a speed demon out there. Speedy Gonzalez out there on the ice. Speedy Hinostroza. So I don't know. Honestly, I was a hater last year, but
it's like Tremaine, man. You're on the Hinostroza train,
the Vinny train, the Vinny Hinney train. So you got to be. I mean, he's proved himself to me. He's putting in a huge effort out there, and I mean, I wouldn't pick him for top goal scorer, or point scorer, but I mean, like he's definitely gonna do something. But I don't know. It shall be interesting. I mean, they have a interesting week and. Could come out 2-1 or 3-0, as Mike said. I'm hoping the 3-0, but we're gonna move into a Would You Rather. But before that, I just want to say that this episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the CastSource Podcast Network, a podcast network built with and for entrepreneurs. Cover many genres, including sports, business, mental health, marketing, and entertainment. Feature many shows such as Sports Bring People Together, Limitless, Saviors of the Metaverse, and The Athletic Mindset. Learn more at castsource.com/podcast. So, fellas, Mike, you're doing the Would You Rather this week?
Yeah.
I hope it's a good one for us, buddy. Come on.
Would you rather? Okay.
Hit us. Come on.
I don't know if this was asked, but
oh man,
would you rather be like an assistant coach, position coach on a pro team, or a head coach of like a junior team, like mid-major college?
No, that similar question's been asked, but not that. That is very interesting.
So pretty much, would you rather be like, the main head honcho, or like?
Would you rather be the head honcho on a
middle tier coach?
Yeah. So you want to be the head honcho on a lower level, or you could be on the top, like if it's the top dogs, but you're in a lower. Mm-hmm. So like, would you rather be the wide receiver coach at Clemson or the head coach at UB? That kind
like
of similar.
Niagara.
Well,
okay.
Niagara doesn't have football, silly.
Yeah.
It's
so
not
I
just
was-
football. It's any sport.
I know,
Oh.
but I was thinking.
It's just any sport.
I was thinking of football reference.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Top organizations likely to pay more, even for those positions, but would you be getting as much as a head position in a mediocre school is the question.
No, I would take the head
Hmm.
coaching position.
I would too.
Greater chance of. I would say
Being-
greater chance of look at Brian Kelly. He started at Cincinnati and worked his way up to Notre Dame. Now at LSU. Urban Meyer started at Bowling Green, then he went to Utah, then went to Florida, then went to Ohio State. You start from the bottom. Now we here. So I'll say. This is, I think, if you work as a position coach, you could get stuck there for a little bit, and I think the only way you could really move up is if you inside your school, if there's a change of inside your
Right.
school, and so then you don't know how long that might take you. But if you listen, if you go to like the MAC and you win the MAC, like once or twice, like you're gonna get a Power 5 job. Like look at Lance Leopold, he was solid for UB. Now he's at Kansas, and they played pretty well this year. I mean, this has been their best year in over a decade.
Look at Jaheim Holloway.
Yeah. I mean,
you're right. Head coach at St. Peter's now is the head man at his alma mater at Seton Hall, and who knows if he goes super well there. I mean, I don't know if he'll leave his alma mater, but maybe he takes another high coaching, makes another jump. So I would definitely say head coaching.
No, I would agree with you on that, Dom. You do have a better chance of getting plucked to a bigger organization, especially leading your own team to say like a championship, like the MAC. And, I would rather put myself on that trajectory, like you said, than get stuck as a wide receiver coach for like 5 years and then only be able to work my way up within the organization. So I'm going head coach. Mike, what if you were in that position, would you pick?
No, I was going to say head coach all the way.
Okay. All right. We're all in agreement. Look at that.
Yeah, it's rare. Good.
Rare. Yes, very rare. Not actually. I think our would you rathers we actually all kind of ended up on the same page, right?
Yeah.
Somewhat.
It's usually a 2-1 split.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2-1 split. Or it takes
it really can't be a
discussion.
1-1-1 split. So
No.
Yeah,
no,
it can't be a 1-2 split either. So
no.
either
Yeah.
2-1 or a 3-0.
You got a point there. Mike, without further ado, you want to take us into those trivia questions, pal?
yeah, of course. So, we see the Colts just fired Frank Reich, and he obviously has ties to Buffalo.
Yeah.
He was our backup quarterback during the glory days. Do you guys know when he was drafted and what round it was? He was drafted by the Bills.
Yes.
1984 third round.
It was pretty close. It was third round pick, but 1985.
Oh, look at that.
No, because it was Bruce Smith's draft.
Oh.
No, I knew.
You were close.
No, I knew he was a third round pick out of Maryland, and I knew.
Boomer Esiason's roommate.
Oh, that was bad on my end.
Look at
I
that.
should have known it was. I should have known it was.
I didn't
85.
know he was Boomer Esiason's roommate. That's pretty interesting.
That's wild. I know there has been like a documentary about the Bills '85 draft of like Bruce, Frank. I think Andre Reed was in that draft too.
Mhm.
I knew that one. Darn. I just knew. I knew
did.
it was
You
after.
said 84
But,
third
but I
round.
knew.
You're right
I
there.
knew it was after Kelly because they drafted him too, because Kelly was
staying
He was
in
in
the
the
AFL.
USFL at that time.
playing. He was a gambler, man. Can I
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Didn't even want to play here.
Little did he know in about 20 years there would be an actual NFL team in Houston.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We'll go to our Sabres question now. Kind of sticking to the draft theme. Do you know who the last this might be easy, I don't know. But who's the last American the Sabres drafted? Like in any round, just in general.
Including
Was it
this past draft?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Oh, dude, I don't know if he's Canadian. He might be Canadian though. I know he goes to UConn. Jake Richards, Jake Richard. No, wait.
No,
No,
it is.
you got it. You got it.
Is
American.
Is his
Yeah.
name not Richard?
It's probably
Isn't that
I don't
French?
know. It's probably Richard.
Richard. Yeah.
Now I gotta look that up.
Gotta look up the pronunciation.
Either way, it's him. The only American
he
we
last
drafted
year?
this year in 22. Yep. 5th round, 6th round, something like that. Yes.
Yeah, he was
okay.
he was a late pick.
This last question.
All right.
It's either a yes or no.
Jacksonville, Florida.
This last one's either yes or no. So we all know that Jeff Saturday is the coach of the Colts now.
Mm-hmm.
In his last game before this, he was a high school coach. Did he win or lose that game?
Oh, he lost. I saw that.
Yeah, he lost. He lost
Yes.
the high school game.
Then he called the Raiders trash, and then he comes and beats them.
Yeah,
Did
he
you hear
beat
the,
'em.
Did you hear the best story about Jeff Saturday? First off, he was a 6th-round pick in last year, 170 for Rich Yards.
Mhm.
The best story for Jeff Saturday is once he got hired, he had to give his fantasy football team to Eric Decker because you're not allowed to have fantasy football as head coach.
Oh no.
It's amazing.
Oh, that's tough. Imagine giving up the team. You put in all the thought and effort, that'd be tough.
Well, I don't know. He's probably getting paid millions of dollars to.
Yeah, to give up the
He's already
team.
getting paid good money on ESPN, so
True.
You got a point. But without further ado, that is going to end it for this episode of the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Ben Joe Cali, and as always, I'm joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino. And Dom, how do you always end these?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.
go Sabres.
Go Sabres.